I just wanted to make a few more remarks about self-harm. So today I want to talk about like the addiction side of self-harm, because absolutely self-harm is addicting. So this is how addiction works, whatever it is you consume or experience, whenever you take that thing in, you're like, well, this made me happy, because whatever it is, it releases those feel-good chemicals like dopamine and serotonin into your body, so your brain went, hey, that made me happy. Like a normal person would be like, well, that's nice, and move on. So if you kind of get more addicted to it, it's like, well, this makes me happy, so I want to be happy more, so I need more of this. And that's when you get into that needing more and more of stuff, because the same amount doesn't work every time. Eventually you need more and more, so then your brain's like, well, I want to be happy all the time, so I need this all the time. And that's when it's like over and over every day needing whatever you're addicted to, like self-harm. And then eventually your brain decides, well, this is the only thing that makes me happy, so this is all I need. I don't need anything else to be happy but this. And that's when you're throwing away friends and family and marriages and jobs and your health, because your brain thinks all it needs is this one thing to be happy. And that's when you get in trouble and you're out on the streets or have lost everything, because you've been chasing this one thing that you think makes you happy. You don't even know what you're doing. And self-harm does the same thing. Eventually you're gonna self-harm more. You're gonna cut deeper more often and just forget about everything else but that, because you think that's the only thing that makes you happy. Well, I'm gonna say one thing. That's not real happiness. This chasing the chemicals in your brain is not real happiness. So you can't go down this path seeking happiness. That's not real. It's just chemicals in your brain reacting. So really, the first thing you have to do with addiction, one, you've got to realize what you're doing. I mean, when you're in it, you don't realize what you're doing, but that's what you've got to do. You're like, what am I doing? I'm losing everything. You've got to realize what you're doing. And really, you have to decide to stop, maybe kind of doing it for your spouse or your parents. At first, maybe it'll kind of work, but really, you have to decide to quit. And it comes down to you deciding to quit. Like, there's nothing or no one that can do it for you. You're going to have to put in the work to just flat out say no to whatever it is. Because, even when you decide to say no, those urges are going to keep being there. And you've really got to kind of be able to look at yourself from like kind of the outside. You've got to see how your brain works and how you think inside, because you're going to have to fight this, maybe even the rest of your life. You're going to have to be able to see, okay, when, stuff like this happens, I feel this way, and then that's when I want this stuff again. You have to be able to see what you're doing. Okay, these urges are coming on, and I'm going to have to say no. Because I say no like all the time. Every time I get really down, my brain goes through the list. It's like several things long, like self-harm and drinking and shopping and even food. All these things, it's like, hey, we're feeling down. If we had one of these things, we could feel better again. And I'm looking from the outside, I can see what my brain's doing. And I'm like, I see what you're doing here, and we're not doing any of these things. We're just going to ride this out. And it's not always going to feel good to say no, because your brain's going to be like, what are you doing? We're going to be miserable now for the rest of our lives because you're not, doing one of these things. And that's not true, because it will go away eventually. You just got to not succumb to these addictions again. You have to just say no and realize what you're doing. And the same thing is with self-harm. You've just got to eventually just put your foot down and say no. And it's going to be hard, but I tell you, you can do it. You can quit.